Welcome to the Rich+Niche YouTube channel, guys. Today I'm with Frankie K. He's a past Rich+Niche student. He's been learning from us for a while. He's been going out there, getting the job done. We're going to hear about his success story today. Frankie, welcome to this call. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Rich. Excited to talk more.
Let's give the audience a bit of a background. How long you been in marketing? What's your background story? How'd you get to this point?
So my background, I've been in marketing for a bit, you could say. It was my focus in college. However, it was not what I was looking to get into. Originally, I was trying to get into sales. I was a part of the college sales program, was doing that for a while. But I think, post-grad, looking for my first job, I realized I wanted more. And I feel like there was a few reasons why. I took some time off to travel before I started, my first job. Realized that it was something I wanted to prioritize in my life. Then kind of started the 9-to-5 route and realized that it wasn't something that I wanted. And lucky enough, I got laid off. I say lucky because it gave me time to really figure out what I wanted to do in my career. Because I realized that, doing the traditional 9-to-5, having a sales role wasn't really something I wanted. I wanted more out of my life. I wanted to be able to have freedom over my time. I wanted financial freedom, location freedom, be able to travel because I kind of developed that passion. So I knew that I wanted all these different things, but I didn't know what that looked like specifically. I never thought the road would take me down entrepreneurship, even though my dad was a small business owner. But I think, realizing I wanted these things kind of opened the idea for me. And I got interested in starting my own marketing agency, realized that could be something that could really connect all these different things out of what I wanted in my life. So did a lot of research figuring out what that was going to look like, found a lot of good online courses and tried to do some research, but I found Rich+Niche specifically and, tried to learn as much as I can about the course. And after, speaking with you, learning more about it, I kind of dove headfirst into it. So learning all the ins and outs, even though it was something I studied in college, it wasn't really everything, not all the things that we learned in your course were taught in school. I didn't know how to start an email marketing campaign, how to build a content strategy, how to build a website, all these different things that I needed to know to, get to where I am today. I learned through your course and through, just doing work for free when I was starting out. So I've been a business owner for a year and a half now, but I want to say it's been almost 3 years of experience, through like 2.5 years of experience working with you and freelancing and starting the business. So
great backstory, man. I mean, it's a lot of people have similar experience where they taste a bit of travel or freedom. They want more from their life. They're ready to give a big effort. I want to go back to one part where you were talking about researching. I always find it really interesting, like how people say, you know what? I finally understand why it's digital marketing. Tell us about how you came to that conclusion. Were you thinking of other paths before it? How did you get the conviction that I think digital marketing is going to be right for me? What was that like?
Yeah, so I went through a lot of research and just in-depth looking to figure out what I wanted to do because, I was laid off from my job and I knew I didn't want to continue that, but I had no idea what was next for me. So I did a few things where I was just, taking a lot of personality tests, doing a lot of reading specific books about what would, be a good career for me. One great book I read, it was called What Colors Your Pair of Shoes? This whole skills assessment that helped me figure out, what holistically would be, my perfect fit for a job. And I think that sales missed a few things. I wanted to, utilize my creative strengths, which was something that I wasn't utilizing in my everyday. In digital marketing, was able to do that. Also, be able to manage my time. Like I said, have financial and location independence. All these things kind of matched together. I knew that there was such a high demand for digital marketing, and it was also something that, I had experience in since it was my focus in college. I looked into a few other things. I was looking into becoming like a tour guide because I wanted to travel. I was looking into becoming an event planner, all these different things. But when I looked about all the different things that I wanted out of my life, digital marketing kind of just fit everything together. Because while some of these were, good small fixes, they didn't really set me up for success. So if I wanted to travel more, if I was a tour guide, it wouldn't really get to me to where I needed to be in my life. So I think a lot of different things kind of culminated together to figure out what that looked like. But
beautiful. It's a great journey, man. And I'm glad that you found a lot of the same conclusions that I have about what really fulfills the right lifestyle business. There's so many things that you can get trapped in. You know, making money is one part of it, but how you make it, where you make it, it's such a huge
Yeah.
difference. Your energy, how you perceive yourself. So you've definitely tapped into that. Let's get into like your day to day. We always, on these interviews, we talk about travel or making more money. It's great, but
Yeah.
let's give people insight to like the grind, the day to day. What does client work look like you for these days? What is a week worth of work? What are you going to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love about my job, I'm always doing something different, which is important for me. So my days, depending on the week, look very different, but they do follow a similar format. For me to be organized in my day, have a sustainable business, I need to have a bit of structure, organization to what I do from a day-to-day basis. So, normally I wake up, I have a morning routine that I do just help me start my day. I have a daily business planner that I'm always writing in. And I also have a specific Notion system set up. And I have one employee right now working for me who helps me manage that system. So really just going in and planning my day, starting off with a morning routine. My mornings, normally I'm doing more of my focused work. That's when I like to really lock in, do my work that I need to be, away from distractions, whether that be working on copywriting, building out a marketing strategy, doing research on a client, building out proposals, all these different things that maybe take a bit more time, focus, and energy for me. I like to do in the beginning of my day. So always starting off, planning, then diving into focused work. I usually always like to take a, 1 to 2 hour break in between my day just to, get a good workout in, go for a walk, just do things to keep me energized and enjoy the rest of my day. And then the afternoons, normally I'm on meetings with my employee, client meetings, or doing more creative work where I'm not so need to be locked in and focused, like designing websites, creating content, whatever that looks like. I usually like to allocate to the end of my day. So that's typically what it looks like from a day-to-day basis.
Beautiful. Really full stack marketer, like very freelance-esque. Sounds similar to me, honestly. Let's talk a little bit about your business model. Are you using a subscription model? How do you approach clients like when they ask, how much do you charge? What's your method right now?
So my method started from, a few different ways where I had a full offer kind of fully laid out, but I wasn't really getting much traction from that. I started getting traction just from doing free consultations, writing out proposals, and kind of going from there. And it kind of built itself one step after the other. So after, meeting with clients, doing a marketing consultation, I found out that a lot of my clients didn't really have a defined marketing strategy. So that's kind of where we started off. So normally I start off doing a marketing revamp project for them, which I follow the steps that are clearly laid out kind of in your consulting essentials package. So that's how I kind of got the idea from it and started to form that because, working with small businesses or medium-sized businesses, a lot of them want to grow their business, but they don't have the basics kind of laid down. They don't have a target audience. They don't know what platforms they should focus on. They don't know how to build a cohesive, effective marketing strategy. So that's really all where it starts. And I start off on a base project. Usually that lasts anywhere from a month to 2 months, just based off how fast they want to get this going. Then normally what that looks like afterwards, once that stage has been complete, then we kind of move into the implementation stage. So, like I said, it can change depending on what the client needs. Normally that's, I would say, a 2 to 3 month deployment process. And after that, it's maintaining a subscription package. So, we have their socials up to date, we're running ads for them, we're doing all these things. And then it's maintaining, assessing, but also looking at our progress and kind of reporting back to them that our marketing efforts are working or seeing what maybe we need to change and tweak. So does follow a subscription model, but there are a few projects that we laid in place to kind of lay the groundwork.
Nice. Really sounds good. I mean, it makes so much sense. There's a huge difference between clients who already have a strategy that they need help with versus we haven't even laid the groundwork. You got to help us. That's really good stuff. What are some other like huge insights or big light bulb moments you've had in the last year that you could share to people who haven't got a client yet? Maybe they're a little uncertain about it. What could you share with them to help them get through that point?
I think if they're in that stage where you're not really getting any traction, you're trying to get your first client, but you're really struggling, I feel like what you really need to do is focus on where your strengths are. I was doing a lot of cold outreach. I wasn't getting anywhere. And I kind of sat back and thought, okay, what are my strengths? What am I good at? I'm very extroverted. I, enjoy talking and connecting with people. I realized that one of my strengths was networking. So I stopped doing cold outreach and I would just go consistently to every networking event that I could. I printed out a business card. I talked to different business owners, connected with a lot of people, and that's how I found my way in. And after a while from connecting with a lot of people, setting up first meetings, I was able to close my first client. So it took a lot of time and energy, but I knew where my strengths were, but also I know what I enjoyed. For me, going to networking events, going to either a conference or just a bar, going and talking to people, it wasn't something that felt like work to me. It was something that I actually enjoyed. So I was able to get some traction and lay the groundwork for myself while focusing on my strengths and also doing something that didn't really feel like more work when I was working, 50, 60 plus hours, just trying to lay the foundations of my business.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're not the only one who tells us that, hey, networking events really work. People want to get your vibe. People want to see what you're about. Cold email, it's so hard to break through now, and it's so tedious, and yet the results are so spare. So I'm glad you found networking. I agree. You seem to be that very strong there. And you mentioned strengths, and you said, hey, read the book, What Color's Your Parachute? This is almost exactly what I did. I read that book as well. And I also took the Clifton Strengths tests. It's $50. Amazing. Will categorize you and your skills so that you can leverage your talents and strengths instead of just trying to be something you're not. So it's really great you brought that up. Thanks for doing that. I think a lot of people will resonate and benefit from looking deeper into who they actually are and where their strengths lie. So that's fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about the future. What do you see for yourself like 3 to 5 years down the line? You've been traveling a lot now. Do you want to continue that? What about the business size? What kind of aims do you have? What do you think about there?
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely this program has really opened my eyes to completely different ideas. Like I said before, I had no real aim to become an entrepreneur, but I feel like, joining this program, meeting other people, also just realizing for myself what I could do if I, think outside the box, take bigger risks. It's completely changed. So, kind of where my goals 3 years ago, what I thought for myself when I was in my late 20s, 30s would be to, just find a stable career, have all these things. But now I have larger efforts. So within the next 3 to 5 years, I really want to scale my agency to where, I have a full team, I'm earning a lot more income. This is kind of where I see myself going in the future. However, more short term, my long term goals have completely changed. I really want to scale my agency so I can, make a significant income and be able to invest, grow my business, but also eventually transition to where I'm no longer in the marketing space, but I'm more in another entrepreneurial space. So my 10, 20-year plan is to eventually sell my digital marketing business, start my own nonprofit. I really want to be able to make some impact in the world, and I'm not sure what that looks like now, but I know that's something that I'm holding myself accountable for because I want to make sure that, my efforts are not only focusing on myself, but others. So I want to be able to make an impact in some way. So 3 to 5 years more so just focusing on sustainable growth and, building wealth, but then using that wealth to really make an impact in the world. I'm not sure what that will look like for me now, but I'm hoping, time and experience will kind of figure that out.
I think it's fair to say that you've unlocked a new level and there's no ceiling anymore. Would you agree that that's happened from the 3 years that you used to think in a ceiling, but now anything's really possible? Would you say that's fair?
Absolutely. I mean, when you're growing up in a bubble, you just have these things that are attainable and unattainable. And you're
Right.
told that all these things, getting a 9 to 5, having a family, all these things are attainable. But, these things, they're unattainable. But I feel like when you finally unlock that space in your mind that says, no, this is attainable. I can do, what I set my mind to. Then it just unlocks a whole new level of opportunities and what you could be doing. So I definitely say that's something that, joining your program, meeting other like-minded people, and also just going for it, for starting a business, for having this goal that I set for myself that a lot of people said, wasn't attainable, that seemed crazy. I was going to start a business, travel the world, all these things, but I was able to accomplish that and, see it through. Then it, just raises your mind to, what else can I do? So, yeah, it's definitely made a big impact in me. And what I see myself doing in the future.
Couple more questions. Thanks so much for doing this. It's a beautiful story already, but I'm curious about the word risk. How do you think about risk now? I know that can be hard to answer, but I feel like that's one of the biggest things is that you learn that you have to take risks and you start taking better risks. Have you felt that in your journey so far?
Yeah, I mean, risk, it's just a word that gets played over and over again.
Yeah,
A lot of people who are kind of nervous to make that jump, they think of, oh, look at this big risk. But
right.
I think it could be seen in a completely different perspective. What does risk really mean? For me, a bigger risk would be not taking that leap and then spending, I'm 60, 70 years old, just thinking about what I could have done. For me, I think that's a much bigger risk. But obviously, there's much risk involved with this. But I think, to accomplish anything, I think you really just need two things. You need to be able to take risks and work hard. And if you can, use both those things, you can create something really great.
Well, give us an example where maybe you were working hard, but something flopped. We got caught off guard. You had to reassess, but then you kept going and then you made it through that. Can you give any example like that?
Yeah. I mean, I would say just when I was starting the business, you're in this phase where you're constantly you're trying to get anything you can, I had my website, I had my offer, I had all these things. I just didn't have any clients. So I was doing everything I could to try and, obviously get those clients. And I was spending, all these hours and hours of work without any pay at the time. And I, like I said, I was mentioned this before, I had a specific model, what I was going to do. My main offer was offering content marketing services to online coaches. And I had this specific funnel and it wasn't really getting anywhere. And I think I was just getting so frustrated with myself and where I was at and, how I'd been working so hard, but I wasn't really reaching that goal. But I think taking some time to just be upset about it for, just a day or so, just letting myself be angry for a second and then saying, okay, I did that. Now what can I do to reassess what I'm doing? What can be changed? What changes can be made to, improve my efforts? And then I made pivots that need to be made and eventually saw it through because I think there's, we always hit a point where, is this attainable? And am I going to be able to get there? I'm working so hard, but I'm not getting anywhere. What else can I do? So I feel like, letting yourself feel what you need to feel, but also not letting yourself feel it for too long, making sure that, you can ask yourself what differences can be made because you need to be proactively thinking of different ways you can go about things instead of just kind of sulking on what's not working.
Yeah, and as a one-person business, you have to really protect your mind because you can blame a lot on yourself. And maybe it is you, but there's a lot of reasons things go wrong. And we need to stay clear-minded so we don't go into this dark space of we're not good enough or we don't deserve it. Like persistence is so key. And that's why it's good to have a community too, to be like, am I crazy here? Let me go find out some truth about this. Well, let's wrap it up with a bit of talk about your experience as a traveler, as a digital nomad. Tell us again, what's your journey been like? What's it been like to take your work on the road? What are the people? How do they perceive you? Do you feel comfortable in these spaces? Just give us a few minutes on what you've been traveling and what's been like.
Yeah. So, I mean, my original motivation for starting this business was I wanted to travel full time. I just found a passion for it. I've always wanted to travel, but I never really thought I had the opportunity, little vacation days, unable to work remotely from abroad, all these things. Then being able to see it through has just been very humbling for me because it's just been such a big goal. And I've been able to achieve it. So it's just been very rewarding in general. But just giving you a breakdown of, what I've been up to. I started traveling full time about 4 months ago. Started off in Lisbon, Portugal. I was staying at a co-living, co-working space there. Then I hopped over to Krakow, Poland, Edinburgh, Scotland. Now I'm currently in Tagazout, Morocco, in this little surf town. So that's a little bit about my travel itinerary. But, overall, I've been meeting so many people who are doing similar things to me, meeting people from, all different areas of the world and just learning so much about myself and the world. And it's just been really incredible to make these different connections because, even if you're used to your own bubble, your own community, you can feel a bit ostracized at times, because not everyone's doing what you're doing. But, when you're traveling, when you're a digital nomad and, you're in this community of like-minded people, you could meet someone from, completely across the world from where you are, but you can have much more in common with them than someone in your own neighborhood. So being able to meet people from, all over the globe who are other entrepreneurs, creatives, it's really inspiring, but it's also just really great to make these connections. I've made long-term friends, people I've met in Lisbon since I've started. We're all going to South Africa together in a week. So I've just been making such great connections, been able to see a lot of things, make incredible memories. I was just in the Sahara Desert last week on the dunes, and I mean, that was incredible. So, I mean, making a lot of memories, seeing cool things, meeting awesome people, and also just getting work done too. I feel like I'm very productive in these environments where you're surrounded by other people who yes, they want to travel, they want to explore, but they're very focused on what they're doing. They're focused on their business, focused on their work. Yeah, it's really great and very rewarding. So I'm glad I took this risk, went with Rich+Niche, and kind of laid those foundations for getting to where I am now.
That's friggin' fantastic, man. I mean, I found it hard to believe you're being productive. That sounds so fun and so life inspiring, but as well, you have to remember what's making that happen, right? Like it's because you
Yeah.
do the work, you get the reward. It's because you
Uh,
took the risk, you getting that. So never forget, you got to stay humble, like you said, grateful. I think that positivity and attitude is needed as a nomad and an entrepreneur. So listen, Frankie, I want to wrap this up. This was fantastic. A great story, really great success story. I mean, yes, you took our programs. You've been a member, great member. Keep coming around, sharing with us all the advice you can as a growing entrepreneur. Listen, if someone wants to hire you, they're watching this, like, this guy seems like he's right for me. Where are they going to find you? Where should they look you up?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're interested in connecting with me more about my services, what I can do for you specifically, you can always go to my website, casecreative.com, or find me on LinkedIn, Frankie K-Y-E, and just connect with me there.
That's awesome. I'll put the links in the description, guys. Thanks for watching the success story. We'll catch you in the next one.